All right. Tell me one more time, because I wanted to get going about the siding. Let me put this down twice.
The siding,
Yeah.
actually, I should check that. It was ultra siding. The siding itself is upholstered fiberglass siding. It was wind tested to 180 miles an hour. It should have a 20-year paint job on it, and since it's fiberglass, it doesn't move with temperature changes like a PVC or vinyl will. It's a very stable, good-looking product, very tough.
Excellent. Tell me the whole about using that room as a heat sink and to condition the air that comes in.
The house is basically based on a passive solar design, which has been around since the 70s, very, very tried and true. It's, as I've said earlier, it's oriented due south so we can maximize our solar gain from morning to night. And as the sun comes up, it swings around, warms up the floors. The concrete floor on the outside is basically an embedded insulation, so it holds all the heat. Open up the doors as the room warms up in the wintertime, let that heat in. As it cools down at nighttime, we close the doors and keep the heat inside the house.
Very good. Tell me about specifically about the insulation.
Insulation itself is very, very tantamount to the design of the house. You'll notice how thick the walls are. It's a conventionally framed 2x4 house, and then we tape off all the seams in the plywood to make it as airtight as possible, caulk their perimeter on the bottom, and then we've put 3 layers of 2-inch polyisocyanurate insulation, which is the good stuff. And then wrap it with another layer of house wrap, and take long screws to go all the way through and make it composite. It makes about an R45 wall. Very, very effective. Insulation is all on the outside, and one of the major advantages of that is we don't end up having trouble insulating the house. It's a continuous band of insulation right from the footings all the way to the top of the eaves. No issues with trying to piece fiberglass around all the band joists and all the hard to insulate spots.
Wow. Tell me the difference between and the importance of cost of ownership versus cost of buying a house.
Well, a well-built house is obviously going to cost a little more than a lesser-built house, but it really is what it costs to own. It's not what it costs to buy. Part of that, a large part of that, is the operating cost. Now, the maintenance is very, very low, as we have with the siding and the exterior trim. The heating bills, the electric bills. In this house, once the solar panels are on, there should be no heating, no electric bills. And if you figure a 5% inflation value, which is historically very, very appropriate, as we go forward, it's going to add up to probably well over $100,000 in savings over the next 20 years, which is real money.
Are there solar panels on the house?
There are not solar panels yet. The attic itself is rough, and I'll explain that when we get up there, how that's done. So it's very, very easy to add, and all the interior infrastructure is in place for it. But the way the tax code is set up, we can't recover the tax savings. So we have a package that we can then propose to the new owners.
Right.
So we can simply put them on.
So the builders can't get that the whole
I'm not the
rebates
owner.
and everything else, yeah.
I'm not the owner.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
It's a tax credit, mostly. It's a 30% tax credit, which was set to expire in 2016. It was since then renewed, and to be honest, I don't know when it expires now, but it's in place. It's 30% of the installed cost.
Well, I know there's a fight going on, with some of the people wanting to go back to coal and take away the solar tax credits and things like that. Too.
So it's a moving target.
Yeah, it is.
It's a moving target. I haven't heard too many people trying to take away the tax credit, but they are pushing for the coal again.
Yeah.
But that's if the economic model doesn't work, it's not going to last. The numbers have to make sense.
Tell me about, in general, the different heating and cooling aspects of this house. And when you talk about, the radiant flooring, the cement, the heat sink, the gas, the low-level air conditioners, just step me through all that.
Let me start with that. Well, as I said, the first thing to do in a house like this is to build it well and take the energy loads as low as possible. Couple that with a cast-in-place concrete floor. The entire first floor is all concrete, a minimum of 3 inches in some places 18 inches thick. It's an awful lot of thermal mass, which functions as a flywheel for the temperature. The temperature really does not want to change. It takes an awful lot of heat loss to bring that heat back out of the concrete. And if it gets warm in the summertime, it keeps it nice and cool. If it needed, we do have an active air conditioning system, and that reduces the humidity levels to make sure that the house is comfortable, and it keeps the floor from reaching the dew point, so we don't get sweating on the floors.
Forcing people to put down carpets everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I would recommend carpets anyway.
Yeah.
Carpets are a really good idea. And it's
Oh, you
really-
would recommend it?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Oh, yeah, because the amount of insulation that's in the a carpet is negligible compared to, it doesn't really affect the radiant floors. The carpet heats up and then the carpet radiates.
Yeah. But what about the cooling aspect of the floor, the carpet kind of?
Well, it'll be
Height it up,
cool, walking on a cold concrete floor in bare feet is going to be, more comfortable than on the carpet. It's going to be cooler.
Right.
I wouldn't say more comfortable.
And so tell me about the fireplace.
Fireplace is kind of a standard propane gas fireplace, but it's here. Number one, it's very nice to have, and it has an extra aspect to it in that it kicks out 32,000 BTU, which is more than enough to heat the entire house. And it's not tied to the electric system. It runs on microvolts and a small battery in the thermostat. So it's an entirely independent heating system for the house.
Wow. Very nice. Any other aspects of the heating and cooling that really make it super efficient?
Well, there's the ventilation system outside, which we haven't touched on.
Yeah, let's talk about that then.
Okay.
Hold on a second.
The camera, or this is just...
This is just a ventilation system outside. Go ahead.
Okay, the ventilation system outside a house that's this tight, it's a very, very good idea to have it artificially ventilated, just for comfort and to keep the uniform temperatures in each room. So one room doesn't get hotter than the other, north side of the house versus south side. We mix the air and keep it fresh. It's actually very, very comfortable, and that's the idea. What part of that system, though, we bring the fresh air in from the outside. For this house, we use ground tubes. Most houses just simply have, in effect, a hole in the side of the house, and then maybe the bath fan will come in. It's kind of a down and dirty way of doing it. They'll put a timer on the bath fan, puts the house under negative pressure.
Right. Pulls it in.
And pulls air in. It's effective. It's effective, not controlled, not very well engineered. And you're bringing in cold air, which in the wintertime, maybe it's 15-degree air, directly into the house. We bring the fresh air in through a tube that's located 100 feet away, and it's 6 feet under the ground, positively sloped. So it brings that cold air in, and the ground warms it over that whole length. And since it's positively sloped, as it warms up, warm air rises. So it takes no electricity to actually ventilate. That comes into the sunroom, rises through the ceiling, which we have ventilation in the ceiling, so the warm air from the sunroom during the daytime and coming off the slab rises up and collects in there, and it collects right around that steel fresh air tube. That goes up through the second floor, which you'll see is a cathedral ceiling, where even more warm air collects right in that top of the cathedral ceiling and snakes back and gives me another 100 lineal feet of steel. So the air is all pre-warmed before it's brought into the house.
That helps a lot.
Yeah.
Do you have any, or is there a need for any electronic control systems over the air conditioning, by air conditioning, I mean all the various ways that the air is heated, cooled, that kind of stuff?
No. We tried to keep it very, very simple, and that was one of the things I really had to kind of guard against, was overcomplicating things.
Yeah, yeah.
All as we see in the basement, all the controls, everything is standard, off-the-shelf heating equipment, as far as the circulators, thermostats, etc. It's this exact same equipment the average plumbing and heating guy deals with every day.
Right.
So there should be no problems with that carrying over.
All right, I'm gonna stop this for a second.